in the I've got news for you this week seat. So I haven't got my gags ready, so I do apologise. But yes, indeed I have. So yeah.
I'll assume the position.
Yeah. Indeed. I tell you what, you do that well, Bob. You do it well. So yes, 3rd of June. Here we are. So a new month. So it's been quite a very interesting one. So yeah, thank you for all you guys turning up here, which is great. Of course, been acknowledged. Oath of Allegiance we haven't got through to doing yet, but that's cool. Declarations of any disclosable pecuniary interest. So if we've got anything else to add, guys, on the list that we can discuss. So
go with what we got for now. I'm sure there'll be other things popping up.
I'm sure there will. Anyway, apologies for absences from our illustrious leader, Mark, as he's away for 10 days. So he's instructed me and obviously give me the list of everything that needs to be done. And also from Sean Stevens as well. Okay, the ongoing conduct of the main Thetford Town Council. So I'm going to read a few of these out. Well, I'm going to tie a couple in together because it's the first two. So filming's still allowed by the public, but only 3 minutes allocated to speak. And the 3-minute allotment time is strict and members of the public are cut off. So this seems to be a little bit the case these days. They're really being a bit more strict on times-wise with the 3 minutes. I know I was cut off and several other people as well as I see Chris Harvey putting his finger up, counting down the time as well. I don't know how other people feel about that here. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, it's, considering you're at a public meeting, it's absolutely disgusting, isn't it? But it is a trend that's running through every council in the country. The fact that they are restricting the public speaking speaks volumes about what they actually think of the public. They're not really interested in what you've got to say. That's basically it. And the quicker they can shut you down and get you out of the room, the better. They can just get on with their meeting, their planned meeting, so they can speak amongst themselves and then get down the pub or whatever they do next.
Yeah, I think you hit that in a nutshell there. I think that is the case. They really don't want us to speak. Yeah, we've got someone in the audience there to...
When they first started the meeting, they said the first 15 minutes is for public speaking. But it didn't start too late. It finished dead on 15 minutes past what should have been the starting time.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
So they waffled on during that first 15 minutes, and they cut everyone off as a total speaking time of 15 minutes. So there wasn't actually a 15-minute allowed.
Yes, we'll have to watch that because that obviously seems to be the trick. Yeah.
They were doing when they started waffling.
Right.
Yeah, which they did, was it the month before as well, wasn't it? They read out an email question instead of letting the public speak. You can answer to an email question anytime, can't you? So.
But yeah, I think Mark raised that as well, didn't he? That you're there, reading out emails. But like you say, yeah, they can be answered. They don't need to be brought on in the 15 minutes.
It's a challenge for them, really. They never get back to it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's move on then. This one's an interesting one. As mine, all the points are interesting. It says, Council has employed a security firm to stand threateningly over the public. Well, Alan, I'll hand that to you because you did address them, didn't you?
Was you threatened?
Yeah.
I'd just like to know where they're getting the money from. I mean, they're calling a climate crisis and then they're paying for 2 security guards that have got no power to do anything anyway. So what a total waste of money. And the police were called and realised they couldn't do anything, so what difference is 2 security guards going to make?
It's purely and simply a show of...
Yes.
It's a scare.
Yes.
It's to be honest, I mean, the one...
Shit show.
It's a show of fear on their behalf.
Yes, definitely.
It's to say, look what we've had to do to keep these ruffians under control, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing is, they know full well that what they're doing is wrong. The police have been called, what, twice, 3 times now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The third time they never even bothered to show up.
No.
So it speaks volumes that they're completely out of their depth. And this is just a little show of force at the taxpayers' expense.
Yes, of course it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think as well, what we discovered as well, looking at something that you sent me about Colchester and that, and it seems to be the case they're calling police all around all the other council meetings as well. The same sort of
Yeah.
script
Yeah,
is
yeah,
being
yeah.
played out. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Along with the vexatious allegations.
yeah,
That's a word that's going through the councils at
Yeah.
the moment. I
Yeah.
found out that comes from the 1700s. That.
17.
Yeah, they
Wow.
they brought that in the 1700s to start shutting down the public voice at council meetings. So it's got a long history.
It certainly has.
We're dealing with children basically that are happy to protect their system, as we can see obviously, and I think we need to potentially go another way about it to let them know, you know, stop the fuel,
Yeah.
and to really let them know because they're not listening, they do not care, you know.
You're right, they're
They do not do any research into anything that anyone has to say. I think Terry Lamb pretends he plays around in his laptop and goes like that and while he's chewing his gum, but what else are we getting out of them? You know, we're literally dealing with children of the state that are happy to protect their system.
Yeah, yeah,
You,
yeah.
you know, we're scratching their
Absolutely.
heads, banging their heads.
You're right about the information thing because they've been given lots of information now. The
Yeah.
same as we did at West Suffolk Council, we've given them stacks of information. There's absolutely no excuse now for them to bury their heads in the sand. You know, I never got the chance to have my statement read out, but basically it went along the lines of they've been relying on nescience, you know, so far. They just did not know. If you don't know, you don't know, and that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's
You
false.
know, but now they've got information. What they're doing now is they're stepping into the realms of just complete and utter ignorance and dismissive actions.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and it's no good. It's no good when the public are actually bringing something to the fore.
Well, it is, and if they, you know, it just proves that the way they behave, half the time, like you said, they're like school children, you know, with got no answers, got nothing there when we've had all the proof. In fact, we've had all the proof, like you said, in Bury and in Thetford, all the stuff that we've given out to them, and they've just totally ignored. So,
Yeah.
anyone from the floor that want to ask a question or raise a point? Yeah.
When Mark says he's given them notice,
Yeah.
can he work it the same way as an affidavit? If they don't after 3 times, we're right.
Yeah, I
I
suppose so.
suppose,
I suppose it is a legal document, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll carry the same weight, I would imagine. Yeah.
Try it
Good
out.
point. Good point there. Right, so the fourth point on here, we have the councillors do not give out any detailed answers to the public questions, which is kind of what you've sort of covered a little bit in there, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, any answers they
Yeah.
do give are
Yeah.
very muddled.
Yeah,
Muddled.
that's on the list as well.
Yeah. But they're non-specific,
Yeah,
aren't they?
that's right,
They're just
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Vague.
Yeah,
really vague.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't actually address your question.
If
Yeah.
it's something that they're talking about anyway, or they have done and they want to answer it, then they give out details. That
Yeah.
shows the light on what they're
Yeah.
really there for. It's
Yeah, yeah.
for them and only in their system to
Yeah.
protect.
Well, you only got to look at like what Suffolk Council did. Do you know, when we went over to there and we made statements and we asked questions and what have you, they were lost. Then they
Yeah.
brought in okay, you have to submit your question
That's it.
so that they can have something pre-prepared
Oh,
after you've asked your question. And again, all it was just a box standard Google answer, no weight, no knowledge, no information, you know.
yeah.
So, they're just
really
they're
foolish.
ignorant, they're out of their depth, they don't really know what they're talking about
Yeah.
in regard to public concern.
They don't look into anything, do they? And like you say, anything they do read out, it's scripted, and it's not them actually saying it. It's what they've read off the website, government website. So it's a really poor show that you've got people that are meant to be supporting the people in town, you know, the council, and they're obviously not doing their job. I think sometimes, for a lot of the newbies that are there, they're trying to save face by not going against what is happening.
that's it.
And, you know, plus it's a nice status to say you're a councillor, isn't it, you know, for your town. So if they were, it's unfortunate that the 13 of us that when we were in election last year, the half of us didn't get in, because then it would have been a real can of worms opening, you know, if because we'd have stood for it, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, and I think, you know, this, you know, taking note, on the good side, I mean, they are there because, you know, as complete and utter newbies, they wanted to be there because they want to do good. They've got good intention at heart, but they're being led by the nose by certain
Swear words.
factors.
yeah.
And
Future MD.
and they daren't step out of their advised remit,
That's
so to
it.
speak.
Local councils shouldn't be bound by politics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're there for the people.
Yeah.
Going back to my original statement, the problem you had at the last meeting was the speaker weren't working,
Mm.
you couldn't hear. They spent 5 minutes playing about, and that all come off of that 15-minute start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, well, because the
I'm
acoustics,
wondering after the time if that's
Yeah.
not done on purpose.
yeah, probably
Yes.
is.
Oh, absolutely, it's
Yeah.
on purpose.
Because the acoustics were bad in there as well, and I don't know why that we weren't in the Carnegie, because it didn't look like there was anything going on when we went round there.
And also, when we said to them, we can't hear you, can you
Yeah,
turn the speaker the right way?
Yeah.
The response we got was,
Yeah.
did you notice? Yes,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
doing it.
yeah,
You know,
that's
short,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Thank you on the
Yeah,
end.
that's it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
They
Chris.
don't want you there.
They don't want you there.
See,
No.
the thing is though, and I've said this to you two already, Ron, who is one of the councillors, he knows about PAs.
Yeah,
That speaker should be at the front.
yeah,
So their microphones are behind it. They don't have
Not
to turn it
feedback.
up so loud.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get so much reverb bouncing off the walls. So yeah, I can't help but think a lot of it, you know, if there wasn't somebody on the council there that wasn't in a band who knew how PA systems worked, you know, I can't call them ignorant because he should know that.
he should, yeah.
So I can't help but think that that's a deliberate ploy.
On top of what they are
Yeah.
anyway.
Definitely. I think so. Number 5, the point on here, the council do not engage with the public when answering questions, which we kind of covered that slightly, haven't we? So,
Yeah,
because they don't tend to, do they? When answering questions, they spend a
Well,
lot of time.
I don't want to.
Yeah, yeah,
They don't want to, and if you ask them a question that is relevant, and it's not on their little checklist, they just ignore you anyway.
yeah, exactly. And it ties in with the 6. It says the council do not address agenda points to the public,
No.
only themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
So, that speaks volumes in itself. And point 7, when speaking, councillors mumble and do not express themselves clearly.
I've already said that.
Which is, which is a case in point, because they do tend to, especially now we've got Chris in there, he seems to do a little bit more mumbling. But yeah, it's not addressed properly and clearly, because at the end of the day, we're not getting the answers we need, let alone we can't even hear what the answers are if they do have any in the first place. So, but moving on, go on, I thought you were going to say something.
No,
Oh, no, it was-
look, I mean, I just know my name's at the bloody top of this.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the next thing on is the declared Thetford climate crisis. I wasn't able to attend the last meeting, and I asked for a statement to be read out, and it wasn't read out purely and simply because because of the time constraints. But my statement will be read out when I attend the next meeting, so we
Yeah.
can save that for then.
yeah. Sounds like a plan. 2, Councillor Jeremy spoke again, but no detail of the specifics of the crisis. Which,
But what he did say was that we've got a proud reputation of our environmental efforts we're doing in the town with the buildings we've got, we look after, and we're doing this and we've got a fantastic record. And then the point was brought up, if you're doing such a good record, why are we in a climate crisis? And again, he wasn't interested
Yeah.
in answering. No.
well, that just speaks volumes of him, doesn't it? Because, again, skirting around what really is the problem. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, everyone's playing their
Mm.
part, playing their part in their own
Yeah.
tiny little way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, never mind the fact that it's basically public knowledge now that the whole thing's a scam. Has been, for those that don't know, has been since 1972.
Yeah.
From the Club of Rome, make mankind the enemy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't matter who you talk to now. Even the kids know it's a scam now. But I don't know what's the matter with these people. You know, they have no idea that they're throwing their families under the bus. But they won't go and investigate it.
No.
So
Yeah.
sheep,
Yeah.
yeah, sheep.
But it is a shame, I think, isn't it, that they can sit there and, you know, we can give them all the evidence and they just want to sit there and believe there is a climate crisis, or actually not so much believe, no there isn't, but they're actually just following the orders that they're doing. So.
Yeah.
And he even said how small Thetford is and how little it's probably contributing to what they believe. So
And Thetford, that's slap bang in the middle of one of the biggest forests in Europe.
the lungs of Britain.
But the information we're giving them is not the information that they're being given by their bosses, so our information to them is not relevant.
No, that's
Yeah.
right.
And that is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're not even their bosses are giving their information, but they're not even investigating the information that
No.
their bosses
No,
are given.
that's
No.
right.
Because if they did look a little bit deeper, they'd discover that the International Panel on Climate Change themselves haven't declared a climate crisis.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's the thing.
Interesting.
It should, you know, if they at least can't answer what we're trying to give them the answer, they need to then take it to the district, to the county, and then it should, you know, like when we spoke to Mark the other day, it should come back down to us,
From the
and they
people.
should give. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
So, but they're not doing that. It's just stopping at the Thetford Town Council,
Yeah.
and then that's it. We just,
Maybe we should be asking for another Norfolk meeting.
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
That's
definitely.
what we should be looking
Yeah,
for.
definitely.
Norfolk meeting.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know, because if it isn't going from town up to Brecland and then up to Norfolk, then what is the purpose of the hierarchical
Yeah,
system?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The thing that worries me though is last year they tried to do it 15-minute zones. This is the same thing
Yeah.
repackaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've had the plans there. What are they going to do next? You know, and what are they going to implement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the worry we've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the idea behind declaring a climate crisis.
Yes, it is.
Because
Yeah.
they can just start coming around the back door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
I mean, he's had a terrible record with that amount of money anyway before in 2016. Is it £30,000 he wants to spend on this Limeate emergency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know what he's really done with a £30,000 before with the overspend. That he actually failed to complete a polygraph test with a woman exposing him live on camera. So this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and it's absolutely disgusting, as I said in 2 meetings ago. You know, they're using all this money on what is in essence
A drop in the ocean.
a drop in the ocean, and just basically a new business model that's going to launder money from the public purse. And yet, when I was delivering leaflets to let people know what was going to, you know, this meeting was going to go on, I stood and talked to a family who were absolutely disgusted that there's people in this town that can't afford to feed their kids, and they're going to blow 20, 30 grand on a hoax
Yeah.
because of their ignorance.
But what is that money going to do anyway? It won't do anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
No.
I guarantee you, someone will get a backhander from it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We can guess who, can't we?
Already has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Probably
exactly.
has. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions from the floor? Anyone? Yes, Gary.
The only thing I'd like to mention is parish polls. I've talked about those before, and what a parish poll is basically a referendum. So I've got it on the Brecland website here, so I'll just read a little bit about it.
Yeah.
So it says, what is a parish poll? It's a poll requested by the parishioners of an electoral area, which is us in Thetford Town, so it's the people, to obtain the opinion of the people on a particular question. So there's various rules that you've got to meet. So you've got to get 10 electors at a public meeting, or a third of the people at a public meeting, to request a parish poll. So what that would then do on the topic of whatever choice, it might be the climate emergency or whatever it is, they would then have to put a poll out to the people of Thetford, to the people of the parish. So people would have to go to the polling station and vote on the question. So that, I think that's something that we can really use, because we know going through Thetford Town Council, trying to get them to go to Brecon, trying to get them to go to Norfolk, it's not going to work. They're just going to lose the question in a labyrinthine channels that are designed to obscure things. Where if we just cut that out, we can say, we might have another meeting with Norfolk, say, at the Carnegie. We say, we declare this as a parish meeting. We want a parish poll, we want the people in this room to vote on whether we should have a parish poll. If at least a third of them say yes, then we have a parish poll. And then that's up for Brecon to run a parish poll here. We put the question out to the people, whatever we decide the question is. You know, do you agree with Thetford's declaration of a climate emergency? Do you think Thetford Council's declaration of a climate emergency means that Thetford Council know what the people of Thetford want? That kind of question. And then let the people of Thetford.
I can see one major flaw in that question. Majority of people in Thetford will be watching the BBC and they'll be brainwashed in the climate crisis.
Yeah.
You've got to make them aware that there isn't one before that question is even put to them.
Although having said that, if you take the last meeting that we had with the 20-minute neighbourhoods, most of the people in that room were against.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the people that would maybe turn out for it would be the ones opposing it.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic idea. Yeah, yeah,
Phrasing of the question.
yes,
Yeah.
Is a climate emergency a top priority for Thetford?
yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Nobody
Yeah.
can say that, surely.
No.
Apart from a few extremists.
No.
Yeah, that's a good
But
point
something
again.
to bear in
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, could you
Well,
send us
that's got to
that
be done.
information? Could you? Yeah, thank you, mate. Yeah. No, it's very good, but I do take your point there, Alan, on that.
Yeah.
But it's again making more people aware of what's going on and what people see as a climate crisis, even though there isn't one. But yeah, anyone else got any more? No?
I mean, just adding to that, I was watching a charity today that are called the Fact Checkers, and they fact check supposedly everything, but the charity is run by millionaires who report to the government.
Oh, no, that's
But they're the facts that the government go by.
I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know,
You can't make it up, can you? Absolutely.
No.
Right, moving on to point 3. This is Zach's best friend, I think. Councillor Land spoke about a manifesto commitment and democracy. Well, a manifesto. Manifesto.
What the hell are party politics doing at council level? When they're meant to be there, standing in front of the public saying, how can we help? Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I did plagiarise that little bit there. You know, there's
Yeah.
Gillian McKeith, who's running as an independent. She actually made that point really, really well in quite a long chat she did. And it's so true. You know,
yeah.
why are they putting party politics before the needs and the requests of the public?
Yeah, exactly. Mark did say to that as well. He said he reminded them that they had no mandate due to only 18% public backing.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
it was only 18%.
What do you call it? Democracy. It's best or saying.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's what. Yeah,
I think Mark
That's what he
corrected
said,
it
yeah.
quickly. More
Yeah.
like dictatorship.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was such a low turnout, wasn't it, for the
Yeah.
local
Local
elections?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, it's
So-
just a shame that we were 3.5 weeks out, weren't we, doing it? So if we'd been able to campaign a bit more, things may have been different, but that was then. And this is now. So, point 5, the council was put on notice as linked men and women by Mark to do with the climate crisis. So he served them papers on the night at their council meeting, and I think this week he sent out by Royal Mail them on notice as well in the post. So he's covered that there. So that's another good thing to see.
Yeah, we might just worth telling the people that are watching, the notice was to do with the individual's obligation to take responsibility for the climate emergency that they've declared, so that if any harm or distress or any damage to people's livelihoods or anything like that occur off the back of this climate crisis announcement, then they are responsible in their own private capacity, and they need to be reminded of it regularly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you only got to look back at what was it, January of 22. They were put on notice and told about the harms,
Smoking gun.
the fires of smoking gun document.
Yeah,
You know, I know we keep bringing it up, but it's pretty significant as far as this council's concerned.
yeah,
They were warned through that document that people were dying even in the trials. They were requested to at least cease, shut down the jab centres, or at least temporarily close them until there's an investigation or something like that, and they completely ignored it. And they were put on notice then. Now it's all coming out
yeah.
that the AstraZeneca is injuring people and there's people dying. It's also coming out in the Scottish COVID inquiry that occurred. Now, you know, people are saying, oh yeah, it's just the AstraZeneca, it's just the AstraZeneca. But they're all made, every product was made with the same ingredients.
Yeah,
So this council will need to sit up and start taking notice.
definitely. Definitely, and like you say, we served that notice in 2022, didn't we, January? And like I say, it's all come out now. There's plenty of evidence there with the documents that we have and that and information. It's just that yet again, the council seems to be asleep and doesn't want to entertain it because it's not in their level, I suppose you could call it, that they want to talk about, which is a shame. But this is why we're here. This is why we do what we do, to make them aware and to continue to fight these things, to make aware for the people around the town, even if the councils don't want to listen to us. But moving forward, on to misuse of public funds at all levels of council. So the point one here, we need to monitor any payments for net zero courses run externally. Well, that's, you know, I think that's self-explanatory, that point.
But will they divulge?
Yeah, well, that is
Probably not.
that is the $1 million question, whether they will or not, because the amount that they spend that we obviously don't get to hear is incredible, I'm sure. But
I think the only way forward to that is freedom of information requests, isn't it?
it is, yeah.
And maybe from time to time actually sit in on one of the finance meetings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you're allowed to go.
You are, yeah.
You can't talk, but you're allowed to listen.
Yeah.
How often are they?
Midday though, ain't they?
I don't know, a lot of the meetings are around 6, 7 o'clock at night.
Really?
Most
Okay.
How often do they have the finance meetings?
It'll be once a month.
Once a month. So.
You're allowed to record them.
Secretly,
Well, I
probably.
think they, I'm not sure, no, I don't know if they record or not.
It's not a public meeting.
Right.
Yeah, there's ways in there.
Did you just say that, Chris? Did you just say
Glasses.
Yeah.
Just your phone stuck out the top of the pocket.
That's it. You
But,
just-
but you don't even need to record it. As long as someone's there, they
Yeah.
can
Mate.
hear it
Yeah.
and then just report
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Why don't we all go?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll book a day off for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that, definitely.
Okay, all right, that's a date.
A date for that, yeah.
Done,
We can do that. Okay, what have we got there? So, number 2, they wouldn't answer questions about, we spoke about the funding of the security
No.
guards. So,
No.
the point was addressed, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So you-
it was, yeah. But it was, I couldn't even hear what he answered, to be honest with you. I didn't hear it until
Mumbles.
Yeah.
mumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what was it?
You weren't supposed to hear what they...
No, that's
no,
right,
yeah.
yeah. I agree,
No.
we weren't, so.
But
Anyone else?
they were taking steps to secure their safety and
Yeah.
the safety of the public.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think...
I heard that bit.
Yeah, I think the security themselves were wondering why they were there. I think when you looked at them, I think it was just
Boredom.
boredom, yeah. So it was a little bit embarrassing for
I
them, I
think it
think.
was
But,
more scaremongering, to be honest.
Yeah. For who?
yeah,
Yeah, well, it wasn't for us.
yeah, no.
See, what I would like to know is how did the EDP get their information
Mm.
other than from watching our video? Because we all agreed that it was quite balanced, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to know who actually
Mhm.
did that, managed to speak to, because it clearly weren't the council.
No.
No idea.
Well, we come on to the EDP at a later point, so we'll, I know you're keen, Chris. You know. Okay, the third point on here, so it says need to monitor any use of funds by Labour in support of the election. So again, it's keeping tabs on the money really, and what they're going to do with it. But so the finance thing is probably a good idea to go to their meetings to
How
see
often
what
do they have their meeting?
once a month. He said.
I believe it's once a month.
Do you know when?
That will be on their website. I haven't got access to my
No,
account now.
Yeah, you rebel.
Indeed.
They threw me out of that quicker than a bishop from a broth.
Well, you said that, not us, but right, moving on. Okay, so the update on the sexualisation of local children. So when we had the council meeting, I also served notice on them, and under the Children's Act of 1989 and 2004 and the Children's Social Act 2017, because I spoke about 5 names: Alistair Crowley, Alfred Kinsey, Hugh Hefner, John Money, and Mary Calderone. All them people are linked to this document which I spoke about at our last Council Watch meeting, this UNESCO and WHO document, which was reviewed by the Safe Schools Alliance UK last year in April, and it's completely shocking, and the conclusion that they come up with, that it really needs to be massively reviewed again. But since that time, so basically just to add, yes, so I went to serve it, and obviously I'd ran out of time. Chris was doing his finger pointing in 1 minute, 30 seconds and all that, so I didn't get time to issue it out. And because I didn't get real time to read out my notice, I didn't leave it there. What I did the next day, I sent it special delivery, so they've all got a copy, all 18 of them. So, and they're on a 28-day notice as well, so that is there. So, but since that time, my good friend here, Bob says, he sent me something. So I'm not as skillful as Mr. Mark Taylor with his laptop and putting it on the big screen. So I want to play you this, because then I'm going to talk about this document that I've got here. Well, I'll let you listen to this first, so hopefully it'll come out all right.
The question has been asked many times how the people who are perpetrating these things expect to do this and make it last. And the answer to that is that you steal a generation of children and you indoctrinate them so that they accept these ideas and they become global citizens in the coming global village. UNESCO came out and declared 2005 to 2015 the decade of education for sustainable development. But they go on to say that it will encompass the 40 chapters of Agenda 21. That is your federal national curriculum. The entire purpose of second grade social studies is to transfer loyalty from the family to the government and teach them about sustainable economic consumption. Students construct their own understandings of reality and realize that objective reality is not knowable. So why bother? The truth is, the truth, which keep men free, is being suppressed in order to prop up the attitude training agenda. And it moves on. This is our new math called connected mathematics. Standard 3 tells us that students learn that mathematics is man-made, that it is arbitrary, and good solutions are arrived at by consensus. Most of us assume 2 plus 2 is always going to equal 4. You're wrong. We might reach a new consensus. How well does it work? Well, they tell you in the teacher's guide in the back, it tells us that because the curriculum doesn't emphasize arithmetic computations done by hand, some students may not do as well on tests assessing computational skills. We believe such a trade-off in the favor of CMP is very much to the student's advantage in the world of work. Our children are mathematically illiterate on purpose. How do I know on purpose? Why isn't this just a basic bad idea? Because the Sustainable Development Plan tells us so. Generally, more highly educated people who have higher incomes consume more resources than poorly educated people who tend to have lower incomes. In this case, more education increases the threat to sustainability. Charlotte Iserby, I owe you an apology. I did not believe for the longest time it was a deliberate dumbing down. I thought that dumbing down was a natural consequence of a bad idea. Folks, it's deliberate. It's deliberate.
The sustainable globalist goal is the orchestration of a planned fall of American principles, values, and lifestyles. The effect on the average American will be devastating. With modernizing technology, the ordinary person will live without independence, privacy, or substantive rights.
Another press conference that I attended was the ICLE group, the International Committee for Local Environmental Initiatives, that helps in the implementation of Agenda 21 in all of our local communities. And
Well, there we have it on that. That's what, yeah. So that document that they're on about, UNESCO, of all the documents I got and I've collected since 2021, UNESCO has got to be the easiest one. This is the Nation's Decade of Education for Sustainable Development. This is the document that they're on about. So it's International Implementation Scheme. So what I've done, get my notes. So yeah, so this is the document, what they're on about. This one here, which I've said, just to show you. And it covers 7 key strategies, which I'm just going to read out. It says, number 1 is vision, building, and advocacy. And then you've got 2, consultation and, can't read my own writing, owner. Partnership and networks is 3, capacity, building and training 4, research and innovation development 5, use of information and communication technologies, ICT 6, and monitoring and evaluation. So what I've done on a couple of those, I've just gone to the points there. So, and I've sort of bracketed them out a little bit, so I want to read. So this one's from point 4, capacity building and training. One major group that is worthy of special mention in terms of capacity building and training are teacher educators, along with pre-service in-service teachers. Through many contract hours in the classroom, the world's 60 million teachers mold the knowledge base and worldviews of millions of children. If pre-service and in-service teachers learn to weave ESD issues into the curriculum and to use techniques, it's pedagogical techniques associated with quality ESD, which is the sustainable development, then the next generation will be capable of shaping a more sustainable world. It goes in on point 5, research and development and innovation. Knowledge societies around the world can provide the content for ESD. Traditionally, there is a tag of about 10 or more years for new discoveries to be incorporated into school curricula and other educational programs. The DSD gives the educational community the incentive to incorporate the most recent information and research into programs. And they've also gathered baseline information and creating longitudinal studies to evaluate the effect of the ESD programs. It goes into a little bit more detail in there as well, but basically it touches on the way there on point 6, use of information communication technologies. So the ICTs after new learning modes and spaces, distance learning has been dependent on radio and TV. Remember, this was back in 2005 that this document came out for the next 10 years, the decade. TV and postal systems. The internet offers new options, and I think the internet was in 1983. Facebook came about in 2005, or 2004, 2005 became Facebook. Options and interactivity. This represents an opportunity for the widespread disinformation ESD in ways that offer options of individual pace, assignments, and assistance from an instructor. And it goes through there all the way the current information is being processed out to people and stakeholders, a lot of money going involved to monitor all around the world the implementation of what they put out in between 2005 and 2015 or 2014 on this document. They put this out in 2009. So they really needed to get something together, and they put this document together which talks of child abuse, paedophilia, you name it, teaching all children all different kinds of sex acts that us adults are accustomed to. So this, along with all the other current information that is brought out today, you can see what's happening in this school. So the plan goes way, way back to even what we thought of. And then when I was looking, because I've read nearly most of the document, it actually goes back to the Human Rights Declaration Act in 1948. And what was happening in the 40s decade of that time, there was a man which has been cited in this document, the 2009, called Alfred Kinsey, talking about the sexualization of children. So there you have it. It really is a link which goes on to get to the point to where we are today with the sexualization of children. And the notice I put them under, which I've told you, all the children's acts and that, they just bypassed it. One, maybe they're not allowed to talk about it. Two, they haven't got a clue. Three, they probably don't care. And four, as Bob said, we really need to take it to a higher level, because there is district councillors on the committee and the council, and Norfolk County councillors as well, district and county. So they could have at least answered some of the questions there, or the question that I asked on the night, but they chose not to. So the only port of call for me, and I probably the majority of us in here, maybe people out there, would to be to get hold of Norfolk County Council and set up a meeting in the Carnegie, like we did last year with the 15-minute cities and 20-minute neighbourhoods. And let's address the climate change, the sexualisation of children in schools. We've got tons of evidence. Let's put it to them and see what they say. What do you think, guys?
Good idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If they reject it, then they really have shown their true colours, haven't they?
Yeah.
So.
What about Board of School Governors?
Yeah, it's something that we could look at there with them. Yeah.
Get a Norfolk meeting
Yeah.
set up and then invite them.
Yeah. No, that would be good. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good idea actually. Yeah, set that up and invite. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Any other guys? Anyone in the audience there want to just address anything on that note? No? Well, we'll keep you posted on what's going on with the sexualisation and obviously the climate change as well. Let's just move on. What do we got? So his last point on there was they are now liable for any harm, distress, damage due to this education, and that's true. Right. So I've got a little bit of a message from our leader, Mark, reporting to the town clerk. So I'm going to read this out. How he's put it. So the town clerk has been reported to the police along with Chairman Councillor Harvey and Labour leader Councillor Jeremy for possible misuse of public funds. The following statement was sent to the police. The town council acting town clerk, Mr. York, the chairman of the council, Mr. Harvey, and the leader of the Labour group, Mr. Jeremy, have agreed to use of taxpayers' money in the hiring of private security guards from Force 8 Security. The guards were then positioned in threatening and harassing manner to stand guard over the public at the May Town Council meeting. When asked by members of the public how much of their money had been spent on these security guards and from which public pot had it been allocated them, the three people mentioned have refused to give answers to the public in the open forum meeting that took place that evening. This is a potential gross misuse of taxpayers' money, and I feel that it should be investigated on behalf of the public of Thetford. And I think that's a fair point from Mark Taylor to address that point to the police. So we'll keep you informed of that. If anyone has anything to say to add to that. Anyone? Yes? No? Right. So moving on, update on external meetings and actions by now. Well, Mark Taylor attended, he said, the Alternative View Conference and will report. So obviously he's not here to report. I don't know, he
No,
did it.
I don't know what went on at that one. It hasn't actually been released yet.
No.
Yeah, but having, you know, for those that don't know what Alternative View is, it's basically an open forum. I've looked at some of it, I agree with some, and I disagree with other bits, you know, but I think the whole basis of the Alternative View is that everyone gets free speech.
Yeah.
say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
So, but the last conference, no, I don't think it's been released yet. So.
Right, okay, and then no doubt we'll get an update from Mark when at the next meeting and when he's back, and he'll address it all to us as well. So, point 2 on this one, fantastic front page and inside double page publicity from the EDP. Look at that. My word. Indeed. Where did they get that from? Well, it was, yeah, indeed. But it was a good write-up just by the end. I think, what was it? Mark said it was marred, wasn't it? The end a little bit.
Just at the end, Jane James made a statement that the public didn't, other members of the public didn't get their chance to speak.
Well, that's the
And
council.
that was because
Yeah.
the council shut down the public speaking element.
Yeah.
So, but apart from that, it was a good report. And but like Chris said, where did they get their information from? It can't have just been off that video.
Unless it was Jane James.
Unless
Yeah.
it was Jane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
And Terry Jervey, apparently he's very tied up. It won't be-
Well, there is that. It's indeed, it's not quite after the watershed. Thank you very much there. But hey, I do the jokes, please. But at least it's a good spread, and it's getting publicity for us as well. Yeah, something did appear on Facebook. I don't know what that was, but
On a serious note, is that report just a carrot to drag us in?
Yeah.
Because as we've just seen with the freedom sort of camps that have been going on around the country, the weekend events, Sky News were allowed in. And
Misreported.
Sky News misreported the event. They picked out a couple of people who are a little bit unhinged and used those as their samples of what the freedom movement is about. So I'm very suspicious of the EDP still after my experience with them back in 2020. So,
But did you see that because obviously it's online as well, isn't it? Which is what I reported on. The comments on there were very positive in our favour.
Yeah.
So perhaps the EDP have also got that thing, where they're now thinking, well, they've got a lot of public support, so we can't start just putting them right down now because we're going to lose readers.
yeah.
And a fantastic letter.
From
Yes,
Peter Grant.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was a great layer, that.
If I
Yeah.
can find it, I'll.
Yeah, I read that one.
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Pass him the mic.
If I... Alright, here we go. So this was a letter to the EDP after that report went out. Okay, in response to the EDP headline, article dated Friday the 24th of May, entitled Bondage, Grandad's Row Sparks 999 Call. I'm writing to support Thetford Council Watch, who voting councillors, well, I'm not quite sure what that line meant. Their remit to work on behalf of the people from the people, for the people, it's called democracy. We should expect integrity, accountability and transparency, and if councils are seen to have other agendas which have not been discussed with their committee, then the council must be held to account. And it is as simple as that. Creating a climate emergency in Thetford and spending £30,000 at the council level of local people's money, to me, is bonkers. One Thetford resident at the meeting said, the people of this town can't afford to feed their kids and you're going to take thousands of pounds away. Can we please see a complete breakdown on how this money is proposed to be spent, and just as importantly, what will the climate benefits be for the people of Thetford? If this cannot be justified, then it must not be allowed to go ahead. The money can then be used properly to serve the people of Thetford. You can clearly see why Council Watch is necessary. Democracy is something that we need to keep fighting for, otherwise we become a totalitarian state, and Thomas Paine, who was born in Thetford, knew this. He was a truly great Norfolk man. As Thomas Paine said, a body of men holding themselves accountable to nobody ought not to be trusted by anybody. Exactly. Thetford Council Watch have been at the forefront in the UK, and other towns have followed their lead, and the Council Watch is alive and well right across the country. If Thomas Paine was looking down, he would be very proud of his Thetford descendants. Bravo, Thetford Council Watch, Norfolk. Should be very proud of you. Well, that was a great little write-up, a great letter. Yeah. Well done, Peter Ragg.
Does anyone actually know what the 99 call was about?
The what?
Does anyone actually know what the 99 call was for?
The last one.
Yeah.
These rowdy bunch. This
Yeah.
rowdy bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the video it was 999 call.
Yeah.
And it was for what? Because of,
Yeah,
You got
because you're
better.
asking questions and we
like,
are,
when the police come?
yeah, but the thing is, the last time the police never showed up.
No, I just wondered what the 99 call was. actually
Yeah,
about.
yeah, they call the police when things get a little bit,
Yeah, I was at that
bit
meeting
tricky.
when they laughed.
Yeah, when we're
Yeah.
being vexatious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the point of that letter in there, I mean, that just shows you that they're getting behind people of doing the council watch, but up and down the country as well, isn't it? It's very, very strong, I think, now. People are starting to realise that there are issues that need to be raised that councils aren't dealing with on any level of the council. So it's important that everyone does support the council watch and, yeah, comes along.
I think the police were called because the council called us a public disorder. And when the police turned up, they obviously knew it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
To me, the council should then be fined
Yes.
for wasting police time.
Yeah, they should, actually.
I've called the police.
Pay back the money out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
I've already rung the police about this. Alan York and Stuart Wright was the mayor at the time for wasting police's time. I've complained to district, county as well. So about Alan York and so if they do it again, it's not going to look. It's not looking good now. But if they do it again.
Well, that on top of the foresight security, they're really spending the money rather nicely, aren't they? On top of whatever else they're doing as well. So it's not really holding them in good light, really.
I think their only course of action now is to actually retract their statements, isn't it? They retract their statement of a climate emergency and start paying attention to things like this.
Yeah, it's a good point. It is a good point because I'm very strong on this sexualisation of children. I mean, as are others. But when you're arguing about a climate change that isn't there, it's not happening. You know what I mean? And then you've got the sexualisation of children, which is happening, and lots of factual evidence. It's a no-brainer for me which one they should be concentrating on, because it doesn't just happen in this town; it happens in all towns, all around the UK, all around the world. So, and that's the problem. People have got to get wise to it. There are still people who don't realise the true extent. I mean, granted, certain schools probably aren't teaching certain things, but on the level across the broad scale of things, they are teaching a lot more than they should be sexually to children, than they should know the age that they are learning from. Their innocence is being lost, and I think that's quite sad, actually. When I look back at my time when I was a child, the fun we used to have. But yeah, anyway, I digress. But yeah, it was a good letter. Yeah, on that note, what have we got? Any other subjects for discussion? Has anyone in the audience there got anything to discuss they want to raise, or anyone here?
Well, what we just talked about, the council tax is actually contributing to all of this. The police, the council, the education.
Yeah.
So there's an easier way to do all of this. I mean, we can keep going in and asking all these pretty questions, or do we do it the easy way? And we go back in there next time saying, how's your bank balance looking?
Yeah. You're referring to council tax, isn't
Exactly.
it? Yeah.
Exactly. I think,
council. Yeah.
because we're going in there banging our heads week after week, and everything that we're contributing to the police, education system, them.
Yeah.
And, maybe we're, when it seems hard sometimes, maybe there's just a basic easy one in front of your face.
Well, it is an easy one, isn't it, really? Yeah.
That's a good point, actually, because, I'm waiting for it to be verified, but I've actually written to the council about where my money is going, where my council tax is going, because I've heard that some of that money is actually going to fund war, provide weapons and what have you, and it's starting to look like our money is complicit in the death of kids, men, women, kids in Palestine and the Ukraine, and so I'm waiting to hear back now from Anglian Revenue Services, who keep passing the buck. So
Well, does it go into the square mile, all of the money, first of all?
yeah,
So basically, how can they pinpoint every single penny? If it goes directly into the council, we know that money's gone to the
and
council.
that's
But
what,
if it goes to there, then to there, so how can you pinpoint
Yeah.
every penny?
And that's-
Just straight away,
that
that's
is
their
one of
word magic. Well, you have, but you haven't, but you have.
yeah.
You know.
Well, that's part of my question.
Exactly.
That's part of my question
So,
to them. Watch the space on that, really.
Definitely watch this space. There's a lot going on that people need to be aware of, not just in the town, but in the UK, around the world. So
Yeah, big marches again at the weekend, not
Yeah.
covered at all by
No.
any of the mainstream media.
no.
And like Bob said, the smaller events and marches that were covered, the first thing you see is reporters saying, well, we're going now on this conspiracy theory march, or and they try and put everyone down as if they're
Mental.
Yeah.
and nutcases.
Well, they thought we were mental in 2020 when we were shouting from the rooftops.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's all coming out in the Scottish Covered Inquiry and
Yeah.
the smoking gun documents.
Yeah.
But apparently Japan have declared it a
They've apologised.
Yeah.
haven't
They have apologised,
they
yeah.
have, yes.
Yeah.
Does that make them anti-vaxxers now?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a
Yeah.
vaccine, was it?
That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's just about-
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But that's right. What do we got left on here? So community engagement to discuss and agree any consultation or media release. So anything that we're putting out, we can keep people ahead of what's going on through us, and how best to inform the public about
Yeah.
points from the meeting.
We need to, I don't know, get out and about.
Yeah,
Has to be. That's the
We
only
need
way.
people here, you know,
Yeah.
to compare the two meetings,
yeah, definitely.
and then they can see for themselves
Yeah.
when that get that ballot through.
Yeah,
They know that people can make a difference.
yeah,
But we have to get the word out there.
yeah.
How many people, on average, sort of tune into this?
What, as it's going?
Well, you know, total sort of at end of the month.
It's
Does
probably
it go
about-
up and down,
It's
or
probably about
average?
400. I think the
Yeah.
most we've probably had is about 3,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's across the country.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
We need
again,
people from Thetford to get off their arses.
Yeah.
Stop watching it live on YouTube, even though I appreciate it. But we would appreciate it more if you could make the effort to come down and engage.
yeah.
Good
But
point.
indeed,
But we'll get out in town as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to.
Yeah,
And
there's-
just another point, there's still no advancement or news on the Abbey estate. So
Right.
I'm looking into it, but
yeah,
nothing.
okay.
No. All there is a few demolition notices, but that's all
Yeah,
prior to planning permission, which they haven't got yet.
Right. so just keep us posted
Yeah,
on that. We'll all
yeah,
keep an
yeah.
eye out for that as well.
So,
'Cause,
yeah, that's going to be a big
yeah,
one.
it will be, won't it?
Yeah, it
Definitely.
will.
But going forward to take from the evening, I think we need to address Norfolk County Council, get that set up, see if we
Yeah.
can get some of the next town council meeting.
Sit on the
Yeah.
finance.
Yes, sit on the
Meetings.
finance meetings as well,
Yeah.
to check
You
out.
wrote it all down,
Yeah,
haven't you?
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually look at that, what Gary said
Definitely,
there,
Yeah.
at the
100%.
parish bowl and that,
Yeah.
so that's
No,
another,
That's a good idea.
that's a great idea there. So
Yes.
going forward, them 3 points certainly, and any others that we come up against, will keep people posted. Well, I think that about wraps it up for me. You'll probably get someone next month looking like Mark Taylor, or something very similar, but with a funny accent. Anyway,
If he comes back from Greece.
if he gets back from Greece. Well, I've got news for you. It's over. Thank you for tonight. Thank you very much.
It's a good night from me.
It's a good night from him.
Give Mark Byford a call out. Mark Byford.